I read somewhere, and I'm trying to get this quote right, is that the media is a meal best served cold. And there's a reason for that, because if you heat it up, you'll see the truth. So you serve it cold and you read it cold, because it's the majority of what you read in the media might not be true. Yeah, the media is there to project an image of what it projects, an image of a generalization of the way the world sees an event. So if you have an issue with gangs, why would you project positive images of gangs? I mean, surely there must be some gangs. When I was at school, I was in a gang, but I didn't call it a gang. I called them friends. I like to call it the monster, because I have this vision of, and it might not be relevant, but I have this vision of a very few people getting together to work out how to control a lot of people. And in that working out how to control a lot of people, they stumble across things like, young colored boys or young black boys like rap music. So if we're going to send a message to them, let's use the music. The diets are very poor, so let's keep using food that affects their behavior through the diet. And so it goes on and on and on, and then as it goes on and on and on, I start to build this picture of the fact that maybe I'll give you a metaphor, and perhaps this will explain what I'm talking about. If you have a lot of sheep, then you employ a shepherd to manage those sheep. Now the sheep are not doing anything wrong. The only problem is that you need those sheep to be in one place all the time, because you need to have those sheep there so they can become accountable. Those sheep are accountable, because that's your profit. Now, the way society is built up is that if you look at us as sheep, you've got to try and find who the shepherd is. And it's that shepherd who also works for somebody else. But let's take it back to the shepherd. So the shepherd is managing the sheep. And so what does the shepherd do? The shepherd buys a sheepdog. So the sheepdog and the shepherd manage the sheep. So if you look at popular culture, it's exactly the same job that the shepherd and the sheepdog are doing, because they're creating an environment or a condition which will enable them to know where those sheep are at any given time. Don't even know that their shepherd is there to control them. He thinks that the shepherd is there because he cares about them, but the shepherd only cares about the profit he can make off of the meat. That's essentially what it is. The sheepdog eats very well because the sheepdog plays a very important part in rounding up the sheep. But the important message here is that at some level, in fact at all levels there is control. So even among the sheep you'll have rivalry, which you might see if you liken it back to people and people's behaviour. You'll see even sheep have issues amongst themselves, but the shepherd and the sheepdog will always sort it out. They will always sort out the bigger generalisation, and so that's in essence where we are in society now. So when I talk to people and I say yes, you are being controlled by things such as the media, I believe it absolutely to be true. Interestingly enough, I did some work with some 17-year-olds, and interestingly enough, there were 5 of them, 2 of those 17-year-olds were actually questioning popular culture. And it turned out that what was interesting, that the 2 of them that had the debate were both readers. They both read a lot of books, and they both read information that contradicts what they're being force-fed. So it was quite amazing to listen to them. And what they found was that they understood that at some level there was control. At some level there's a structure there, or infrastructure for young people to control them, because they themselves at 17 couldn't understand why everybody in their peer group had to smoke marijuana, smoke weed, or the young girls in their peer group thought that they were 21 or 22, so they were engaging in activities such as sexual activities at a very early age, or the fact that they were not interested in their diet. They were basically on the road to destruction. So these 2 young men sat, and I watched them debate it, And the information that they came up with firsthand from young people was that in fact there is a conspiracy. There is a conspiracy, and especially through the music, because we did an exercise where we printed off some of he's a popular rapper. I don't know if I can mention his name, but we printed off some of his lyrics and read those lyrics back in a lesson without the music. And 85, or I'd say 90% of that class did not know where those lyrics came from without the music attached. So you see the complexity of the program is that you put the music with the lyrics, and then it bypasses any kind of filter that you have in your head, and then you start to act like the rapper. That's essentially what it's designed to do. And these young people identified that. Control is exactly where we're at now. We're actually more sheep than we know it at this present time. We're actually more sheep than we know it. So become a goat.